7-4. They struck out 19 times. They walked 11 guys. They gave up a bunch of hits with 2 strikes. It was really bad. Not a great performance from the Tigers. There were moments, sure, and we could talk great in game number 1 to it because it's definitely warranted considering the way they approached this game, holding Luke Holman and Gage Jump and pushing them back. Dylan Hess, I will get to the strike zone because that was inexcusable for both sides. I'm not blaming that. That guy behind the plate sucked, though. He was freaking terrible. I'm all for a college strike zone, but that was comical. That guy, they grade SEC umpires. There should be some discipline handed out to him. That was terrible all night long for both sides. So we'll get to that a little bit later on. Give me a minute here. I got to get some stats pulled up so we can really go through it. While I'm doing that, y'all smash the like button, share the video out, share the pod, all of that greatly appreciated. Get subscribed to the YouTube channel if you have not already, and on your favorite podcast app as well. All of that is appreciated as people. Here's how I want to structure this. Look, first and foremost, we will obviously go through why is Wi-Fi not working? That could make this a lot more difficult than I need it to be right now. There we go. Sorry about that, y'all. We will go through the game itself, talk about what is the deal with this damn Wi-Fi. Stop. Okay. This is getting frustrating here. Okay. We will have stats tonight. It's fine. Who gives a damn, right? It doesn't really freaking matter, does it? I mean, just perfect. Just perfect to go along with everything else. Let's see. We'll try to do it on this. Anyway, we'll go through the game a little bit and, key moments and whatnot, and then we'll lend the perspective, and then we will go forth with, okay, what's left for them in this series, because there is something. That's where the perspective comes in. Let's keep in mind, the goal here was win 1. You wanted to win 1 this weekend. What was disappointing is just how poorly LSU really played tonight. I don't really know how else to go. And a lot of it was on the mound, but I know I've said it a bunch already. I'll continue to say it. Perspective is going to be important when talking about this game. So let me actually try to calm down a little bit. But y'all continue to smash the like button. I'm almost set here. I'm sorry. All right, here we go. Let's go ahead and get started. So Javen Coleman got the start, and that was a little bit surprising to me. I really thought Griffin Herring might be the way that they went. It wasn't. They went with Coleman, and man, look, he came out in that first inning, and I mean, after Hagen Smith made quick work of LSU in the first inning, Coleman comes out, strikes out Stovall looking on 3 straight pitches. I mean, that was dominant stuff. Fastball was up to 94, was the punch out. But then he walks Aloy, gives up a single on a hit and run to McLaughlin. But then Javen Coleman, he bears down, falls behind in the count, 3-1, and gets Spraglot to ground into a double play. Yes, calls for both sides. Low and away corner 2. Hey, stop. The LSU was getting a low and away corner 2. They were getting pitches called high. Yes, it was for both sides. He was terrible, though. Stop distracting me. Credit Javen Coleman. Hold on. Warm where I am. This is not a banner night right now, guys. This is not great. All right. Scoreless first inning. Credit Javen Coleman for getting the double play. Awesome. You move on to the second. Hagen Smith, again, dominant. And, again, Javen Coleman, man, really good bounce back inning there for him. Strikes out Diggs, looking a pair of strikeouts around a fly out. And, I mean, it's like, all right, hey, he's giving you something, a little bit something here. And it was great. Mac Bingham would lead off with a single, but you'd get nothing else. In the third inning is when things started to get out of hand a little bit for LSU. After a fly out, Wilmsmeyer ahead in the count 3-1, gets a single. Singles to right. Then right behind him, Stovall walks on 4 pitches. And that's just the kind of the story of the game for the LSU pitching staff. Ulloa comes in. He's not able to throw strikes immediately out of the bullpen. You walk Aloy, and at that point, the bases are loaded. McLaughlin looks like he hits a grand slam, but somehow it stays in the park, and you manage to get out of that inning, ultimately only allowing run, which was massive. Like Ulloa, who didn't have his best stuff, limited the damage right there, and that was really big. You go to the 4th inning, and that's when LSU has the back-to-back home runs. Tommy White on a 2-strike count. That was a great at-bat for Tommy, and I really want to focus in on that, actually. That was fantastic. Where he, Smith gets into 2 strikes and keeps trying to flip sliders over, and White just spoiled a couple of them foul. He was out in front. He stayed back just enough and poked it over the left field wall. Travinsky homers. And then this has been a problem for LSU all year. All year long, this has been a problem for LSU. When they get a lead, the shutdown inning, the next half, is non-existent. Like a select few guys, you've been able to count on that in that part. A select few guys. And ultimately, you could not count on that here. So you're up 2-1. You get a line out to center field, and then Wagner homers in a 2-strike count. The inability for this team to finish hitters off with 2 strikes is the biggest disappointment I have with the pitching staff. You can talk about the walks all you want. All you want. And you know what? Yeah, they're a problem. You had 11 of them tonight. But my goodness, the inability to finish hitters off with 2 strikes is so disappointing from this team. I mean, Wagner, 1-2 count, homers, ties the game. After a walk behind that, you have a fly out and a single. Stovall comes out, full count, 2 strikes, singles. Gives Arkansas the lead. It was a theme all night long. I don't know if it's pitch selection. I don't know if it's the pitch execution. I don't know if it's a little bit of both. It probably is, but it's a big problem that they have to figure out on the mound. Big problem that LSU has to figure out on the mound. You trade zeros in the 6th, in the 5th and the 6th. Man, the 5th inning was massive because you end up that's where was that the play? Yeah, I think that was the play where yes, that was the play where you had the runner thrown out at third base and had the runner thrown out at third base and the run didn't cross the plate in time, which was wild. Dave Van Horn was real mad. He should have been mad at his runner for not hustling all the way home. So you trade zeros in the 5th, trade zeros in the 6th. Let's go to the 7th. And this is where, you get more walks. LSU had 1, 2, 3, 4 walks in the inning. You also gave up a single to Sprague-Lock on a 1-2 count in that inning as well. The one thing I will say here, Cam Johnson being put in that spot, that was massive. Like, that was Jay Johnson saying, all right, young man, what you got? Like, that's a hell of a spot. Because you got to remember, Smith is out of the game. It's 3. You got a chance, if we're being honest. And you go to Cam Johnson, and he struggled with the first 2 hitters to get the ball over the plate, and he ends up walking in a run. But the response from him, I actually think, is encouraging. The response from Cam Johnson there is encouraging. For him to come, strike out a hitter like Peyton Stovall, who's a veteran into his 3rd year in this league, that was big. That was really, really big. So, good response. I know you could look at that and be like, what does it really matter? He walked in a run, and that's fine. I understand. But that's somebody you're going to really need down the stretch in this season to develop and actually be a part of this team. And when we look back, and he is doing that, hopefully, you can look back at this night and be like, man, that was a big grow-up moment for Cam Johnson right there. So I thought that was very encouraging, and it limited the damage. And that ended up being huge because in the top of the eighth, LSU finally kind of strung together a little bit of rally with 2 outs. You had the single by White, the walk by, I think it was Larson right at that point, it was Travinsky, and then Jones has the single, and you're right back within 1 run. And then this is where I really had an issue. And it's a tough topic to approach, but the way Jay handled the pitching staff tonight was exactly how I expected him to until the 8th inning. They went with guys. They even mentioned it on the broadcast that he was using guys out of the bullpen that he wouldn't normally use. And that's fine. Like, I kind of expect that, again, going into this with the strategy that they had, right? You pitched off. Call it what it is. You pitched off. Jay can tell you, and we mentioned this in the preview, they can tell you all they want, that they're keeping guys on normal rest, whatever. There was an ulterior motive. And until the 8th inning, the way he handled the staff showed you that. At any time during the game, you could have gone to your top arms. You were within 1 run the whole time. But you didn't. And then you did in the 8th. And that rubbed me the wrong way a little bit. Because you had gone, and here's why. I'll explain, because I know how that sounds. That sounds like I'm saying you should have just forfeited the ball game. And that's not where I'm going, okay? You should never do that. You should always play to win. And as rough as LSU was, walks and all that, they were still able to keep Arkansas right there at 1 run the majority of the night. It didn't look pretty. You felt really lucky to be there, but you were there. So this is why I say that, though. Because in the 8th inning, you had gone through the meat of your lineup. You had 7, 8, and 9 due up, who at that, Bingham had a couple hits, but 8 and 9 didn't. Now, granted, Ashton Larson had been inserted for Paxton Kling, and Milam was over to that point. He hit the double in the 9th inning. But that's what I'm looking at against either McIntyre or Gackle, who are both just dominant. It didn't look good for you. He goes Guidry. The reason it frustrated me a little bit is, like I said, you had that part of the lineup due up, and, man, you hadn't even really thought about using top arms until that point. And I was just like, man, you're giving them a look at Gavin Guidry. But that's the way he went. And when that's the way he goes, Gavin Guidry has to execute, and he did not. He walked 2 guys, had a great at-bat with the strikeout in the middle of those 2 walks, gets ahead of Kendall Diggs, and then just grooves a fastball 0-2, and it's hit a mile. And boy, wasn't that huge, because in the 9th inning, you actually end up pushing a run across where you went to your top arm, you took that gamble. You took that gamble after playing it safe really all night. You took that gamble. He didn't execute. It didn't pay off. And you actually end up pushing a run across in the 9th inning, and that hurt a little bit. But what I will say to that point about them pushing that run across, that showed great competitive fire. And that is something that we needed to see from them this weekend. Jay talked about it. And that I will take and go, okay, that's something. That is something. Like, y'all, after Jay got tossed in that Florida game, there was no competitive spirit. There was no competitive fight. There was no competitive fire. You at least saw that tonight throughout the ballgame. It could have been really easy to hang your head after Kendall Diggs hit a ball 400 feet to right field, but they didn't. They didn't. So that is a small silver lining that hopefully they carry forward with them tomorrow. So, overall, a disappointing night. There were a few things to point out and be like, that was good, that was good, that was good, that was good. But overall, a lot of the same issues plagued LSU. Fred, we're not settling for moral victories. That's not what we're doing. You can't get that confused. That's just the fourth person I've heard say that. They're not good right now. So you look for signs of improvement that make them better. That's not a moral victory. A moral victory is going, oh, well, we lost, but hey, we got the season high hits on Hagen Smith tonight. No, that's a moral victory. That's not what we're doing. Because that is soft. But if you're looking for hopeful signs of improvement, hopefully them staying within it for 9 innings tonight is something to look forward to. Hopefully. Now, that's the post-mortem on the game. Quite honestly, I'm tired of talking. Oh, wait a minute. Gotta go back to the clown behind the plate. Where's the box score? I want to know his name because that was terrible. Hopefully they've sent a box score by now. They have not. Don't care. We're still going to go in on him. And when I get the box score later tonight, I'll look up his name and we'll bring him back up tomorrow. Because that strike zone was comical. Comical. And I know y'all were complaining when I said it was for both sides, but it was for both sides. But the fact that you got catchers picking balls off the dirt and it being called a strike regularly is unacceptable. They grade umpires in the SEC now. He should get an F. And there should be some type of discipline there. That was awful behind the plate all night. Not only was it a bad zone, like he was calling balls 5 inches off the plate for strikes, it was also inconsistent because you could go back to that same spot and this clown back there wouldn't call it. It was comical all night long. All night long. All right, I'm done with him until I find out his name and we bring him back up tomorrow. Okay, let's move on to tomorrow. And this is where we have perspective. Or as some of you like to call it, moral victories. Perspective. Smash the like button too, please. All week, we talked about LSU needing to get one game. One game. I know that's never what you want to do when you go in there. You always want to win the series. And I'm not saying LSU shouldn't try to win the series. But at the bare minimum, you have to get one game. Because 3-6 feels a hell of a lot better than 2-7. Because when you come home, Vanderbilt is a winnable series. They are. On the road in Tennessee, going to be tough, but you could win that series. So you have to get one. That's what we've talked about. Keep your head above water. Keep your head above water. Make hay at the back end of your schedule. That's still in front of you. Now, they have to get better in order to do that. Like, you have to start finishing guys off with 2 strikes. You have to cut down the walks, and the lineup has to come up with some better situational hitting. You just do. So, tonight was one game. Wasn't good. We've gone through it. I've yelled. I hope I didn't say anything that I will regret. But now we turn the page. You have Luke Holman going tomorrow against Mason Molina. Mason Molina has had some control problems. So let's look at that. LSU has to take advantage of any little mistake that they get. Any free pass, which, by the way, that was something we talked a lot about in the preview. was teams taking advantage of that, and Arkansas did a great job taking advantage of that tonight, and that's why they won the game. So Holman needs to go out there and be Luke Holman. What I want to see from him, you can sit here and say a bounce back, but it's more than that. He did not pitch well on the road in a tough environment at Mississippi State. Let's see what he does this time around. Timothy Cannon, I agree with that. Ethan Fry is not a leadoff hitter. We said that after the SLU game. He has been one of your best situational hitters in driving in runs. I don't want him in the leadoff spot. I still want him in the lineup. I don't want him in the leadoff spot. But I'm telling you right now, after a 19 strikeout performance, you're going to see a big lineup shuffle from LSU tomorrow. Big lineup shuffle from LSU. I'd be shocked if Jay runs with the same guys he did today. All right. I keep trying to have the perspective here, guys, and move on, but y'all keep bringing up great points in the chat, and it's distracting me. So you need Luke Holman to show that he can be the Friday night ace on the road. You've seen it at home. Like what you saw Florida from Luke Holman, yeah, that's what a Friday night ace in the SEC looks like. Can he do that now on the road in a really big spot? Because this is LSU's best chance to win a game this series, I do believe, is Friday. So have Holman go out there, be good. How they handle things behind him will obviously have a lot to do with the situation in the game. But if LSU has a lead, I will tell you this. I really, really liked Griffin Herring behind Luke Holman. It's such a different look than Holman. It's the same reason they always would pitch Herring behind Paul Skeens last year. It was just such a different look, and Herring brings that to you. So I could see them go that way. If they have a lead, I could see them go to Nate Ackenhausen, which is also a different look, obviously, than Luke Holman. Offensively, you just need a better approach. Like, you had 8 hits. The 19 strikeouts are bad. I'm willing to ease on that a little bit because you were facing Hagen and Will McIntyre. And the good news, there's both of those guys are done. Like, Will McIntyre's not coming back this week. He threw 62 pitches. He's done. Obviously, Hagen Smith is done. What kind of hay can you make against Mason Molina tomorrow? That's going to be big. As far as what changes you see in the lineup tomorrow, because like I said, I do think there will be plenty. I mean, Mac Bingham will be in there. He had 2 hits tonight, right? I think that's what Bingham had was the 2 hits, and then obviously Tommy and Trevino will be in there. I'd like to see Jake Brown get a run, whether it's in right field or in center field. I don't care. I'd like to see Jake Brown get some ABs. I don't really know what they do at catcher tomorrow. That's going to depend on Ethan Fry. I mean, if you don't have Fry in the lineup, you'll probably see Milazzo catch. So I mean, there's plenty of options there for LSU, but that's actually what I'm going to go with. I think you'll see Milazzo catch tomorrow, Travinsky DH. I'm hopeful you'll see Jake Brown in the lineup, whether it's in right or in center. And then go from there. I'm fine with Milam still being in there, although I want to see him in the leadoff spot. I just do. He'll be from the left side, which I think we're learning is his better side. Like, I think we're learning that, right? That the left-handed side is his better side. So, yeah, Fred, I think Fry's. I think Brown's good. He played outfield against Southeastern in the midweek. So yeah, I think the hammy's fine. That's again. So it's actually a good observation. Yes, so Brown I would love to see in the lineup. And then you need Holman to be the guy. I thought LSU actually played pretty good defensively. He had the 1 error on Braswell late, but did that come back to bite them? No, it didn't come back to bite them. Oh, they actually went back and changed it. It wasn't an error. Okay, they went and changed it to a hit. All right, then you played great defense. Randall Offrecht, it's a good where do you pitch Hurd? I think probably Saturday. I say that mainly because of rest. And like that's the thing. That's why y'all aren't going to believe me when I say this. I was actually in a really good mood until the 8th inning. And then the 8th inning happened, and I was just in a very bad mood after that and had to come immediately onto this. And well, I mean, y'all have been watching, y'all saw what happened, listening, y'all saw what happened at the beginning of this episode. I had this whole thing planned to come in and be like, oh, you're doing this is kind of what you were after, pitching off, all that, and I just got really mad in the 8th inning and was put in a bad mood, and now I'm slowly coming down. So, like when you look at it, you still have Ackenhausen, you still have Herring, you still have Hurd, and the thing with Hurd coming out of the bullpen that's going to be very interesting is Thatcher Hurd. That should be a role he's very comfortable in right now. He's given up runs in his first inning of work this year one time. Other than that, he's been great right off the bat. So, like, him coming out of the bullpen could be huge. I forgot who asked this question. I'm sorry. I'm inclined to say Saturday is when you see him. A lot of it due to rest. And I think, depending on Holman, I think they back him up with either Ackenhausen or Herring. Probably Herring. I mean, that's what they did last week, and it worked great. Why not go back to the well with that? But, I mean, you've got guys. How many pitches did Gavin Guidry throw tonight? I know he didn't execute, obviously, the way that you want him to, but he only threw 15 pitches. Like, Gavin Guidry can come back at some point this weekend, and you hope he's a little bit stronger. But, it just, from a pitching staff standpoint for LSU, it just wasn't strikes. I thought the first inning from Christian Little was really encouraging, and then it just got away from him a little bit there. But the 11 walks, I mean, LSU had more walks than strikeouts. That's not going to do it. But, yes, Joseph Lee, a golden sombrero for our guy Josh Pearson, unfortunately. That was discouraging because he had really been taking good ABs. He'd really, really been taking good ABs. All right, guys. I wanted that to be a lot more organized than it was. I got really fired up there at the beginning and lost my train of thought. So I think LSU's in great shape tomorrow if they execute. I like the competitive fire. Carry that over. Look for Luke Holman to be that Friday night ace on the road for the first time at LSU. That's going to be huge. And then you need solidness out of the bullpen. The things I want to see from LSU tomorrow, we'll wrap it up with this, and smash the like button, please. The things I want to see from LSU tomorrow, let's make this concise so it makes sense. Obviously, lower the walk number. A better put-away pitch from everybody. Holman and whoever follows him. Better put-away pitch. Offensively, you're not facing Hagen Smith anymore. And this team had actually been really, really good at not striking out. So get the strikeouts in check because you're not facing Hagen Smith. You're not facing Will McIntyre anymore. And then can you find some situational hitting? Because that's the other thing. The two homers, and Stephen Miller brought this up on Twitter. He couldn't remember which podcast we talked about it in, and neither can I. The solo homers have just been killer for LSU because you're not going to win games hitting multiple solo homers unless you hit like 8 of them. You got to pop one of those with a guy on the base paths, and LSU just has not been able to do that. They did it against Southeastern. Look what happened. That's where they score so much of the runs. They got to stop living and dying by that home run a little bit too much. Jay Johnson talked about this on Off the Bench this morning with Hester and T-Bob. It's the at-bats in between the homers that they need to work on. It's the same conversation we used to always have with Braden Joubert. It's the at-bats in between the homers that they need to work on. So, that's that. Less walks, better put-away pitches from all of them. And let's see if they can manufacture some runs around hitting the ball out of the yard. They do that, they have a really good shot. Like, as rough as LSU pitched tonight, and they gave up 10 hits, walked 11, like, as rough as that was, it was 4-3 going into the bottom of the 8th inning. You get a really strong outing from Luke Holman, you got a chance. So, You need one. You get one win, I will call this weekend a success. And if you get that one win, then you can get greedy and we can talk about trying to steal the series. But until then, just get one. Keep your head above water. All right. Y'all smash the like button. Get subscribed up. I will try to be better organized and have that flow a little bit better after the game Friday. Apologies on that. I'm sure a lot of y'all liked the passion and the me being crazy, but I like it to flow a little bit better. So y'all smash the like button. That's going to wrap it up here for us tonight. Appreciate you all. This is Musa with the Box, and we'll be back tomorrow after game number 2 on Friday night.